Now, wow. You know, I really want to thank the organizer of this event, Mr. Adams, and everyone else that put this together. This right here, it was so phenomenal. You know, the feeling I got when we walked downtown, down Main Street. And it doesn't matter, and what was going through my mind is the fact it doesn't matter how many people show up and who doesn't. God was all over that. God was all over that. In the middle of Main Street, walking down Main Street, and him pastoring and sharing his testimony with everyone. And then a young lady singing. Just everything to me just resonated so much in my spirit. I thank God for Sandra for reaching out to me, because when she reached out to me to invite me to speak, I didn't really know what it was, so I read about it. I said, LOCed. What's get LOCed? What is that? Because I always do my research before I sign on to anything. And I saw that it meant light of Christ. And I thought to myself, how often has the light of Christ shined down on me? How often have I prayed to Christ? And even as I told the young man that I just talked to, even at times when you feel empty, even at times when you feel defeated, God is still working in you. God is still doing it for you, so don't give up. The light of Christ shined on me years ago at the age of 16 and a half, when I lost 2 brothers to the streets. 2 brothers murdered in cold blood. And I didn't know what direction God was taking me in at the time. I was confused, living in Detroit, Michigan, hearing gunshots every night, poor, praying for my mother at times when I would hear her cry at night, but in the morning she would smile at us like it was nothing wrong. Praying for my father, who had a gambling problem, who had addictions, who was a womanizer, but he had so much love for my mom and for us. Praying for a community. I went to a church that was a praying church. And we used to walk in the streets just like that, and that brought back so many memories to me, so many memories to me about the movements that Dr. Benjamin L. Hooks involved us in. And he always told us, when all else fails, you have something to give, give it. I never understood when my mother would give our last loaf of bread to the neighbors. I never understood when we didn't have any water and our neighbors would bring a bucket to our house. I never understood when our power was disconnected and we would have to sleep in the dark for days by candlelight. I never understood that, but God led me here. I never understood when I came to Greenville, South Carolina, when my mother said we got to move because there was too much stuff happening in Detroit. The light of Christ shined down on me. Struggling through school, the light of Christ shined down on me. Being a single mother with 4 children, the light of Christ shine down on me. Going through an abusive relationship, the light of Christ. Praying not for myself, but for my children. For me to be able to show them something that other people didn't show me when I was growing up. For me to be a strong mother. For me to be a forgiving person. For me to forgive my abusers. For me to forgive my accusers. For me to forgive those who don't even forgive me. For me to love the people that hate me. For me to pray for the people that hate me. That maybe by the end of the night you love me just as much as I love you. The light of Christ shines down on me as I give back to the community. Not even thinking about, am I going to get something in return? Not expecting anything, not even a thank you, but knowing that for 1 second I made somebody's day. For 1 second I spoke some life into someone who felt like giving up. For 1 second I made a difference in someone's life. My 1 second was in the middle of Main Street earlier today. My house was burglarized this week. I had so much stuff going on. The enemy is busy. The enemy is busy. And I said, you know what, God, for everything that I give to this community, for everything that I give, I feel so cheated and defeated sometimes when somebody takes from me. I said, for everything that I give, the person that stole out of my husband's truck, we would have given you that little change that he had that you stole out his ashtray. If only you knocked on the door and asked. For everything that I give, for everything that I pour out, you have the nerve to take from me. I had to go in prayer about that, because a person that gives so much, I would give my all, I would give my last. For someone to give so much, you have the audacity to steal from me. But this morning, God whispered to me and told me that even though I felt defeated, even though I didn't feel like getting out of bed, even though I felt like giving up, there's something you got to do today. You've got to be there. The light of Christ shined down on me this morning when I didn't even feel like praying, when I felt like giving up. How did I know I was going to meet a young man named Cortez that felt like giving up as well? How did I know I was going to meet a teenager who said, my heart has been closed and I don't even know how to let God back in, and all I can do is pray that others pray for me, and please pray for me because sometimes I feel like giving up. And me and my mom have so many problems. I have problems with my family. And I told this young man, Cortez, stay strong, my brother, because your first step was your biggest step you'll ever make in your life. You admitted to what many won't even admit in front of a crowd of people. In fact, you admitted to what many won't even admit to themselves. God is speaking in you, and God is speaking in me, and God is pushing something into you right now. And in times when you give up, never forget that the light of Christ still shines on us. God is with us. And it took me a long time to realize this. I felt cheated in a lot of stuff that went on through my life. I lived for 40 years with my father. Even after he died, I cried and I mourned for my dad. I loved him so much. But just imagine the pain I felt 1 year ago. The pain I felt 1 year ago when I found out that my father, who has been deceased for 15 years, was a murderer. When I found out that my father, the person who taught me to love and to respect and to cherish and to give back and to only accept the best from people and never settle for less and never give up. When I found out that my father, the man that was there and the first person that held me in his hands when my mother gave birth to me, took someone's life, I felt like giving up. I felt empty. I felt betrayed. I felt lonely. I felt crushed. I felt defeated. I fell to my knees and I said, God, I am the product of a murderer. But God spoke to me and said, no, you are the product of me. I had to learn not to speak that. I had to learn that even when I spoke it, not to believe it. I had to learn that the devil is busy, but the devil is a lie. I had to learn that my father did something that I fight against every day. If you look at my table over there, it says stop the violence. If you look at my kids and everything that I live for, my whole movement is stop the violence. But to find out that the man that raised me, that nurtured me, the man that I come from, took someone's life. It was the emptiest feeling in my life. The light of Christ shines down on me, and the light of Christ shines down on you. And it doesn't matter how many people show up or how many people don't show up. Everybody is here for a reason. Cortez, I told you I'm going to pray for you, and I am. I'm going to pray for you every day. Look me up. My name is Traci Fant. Thank you so much.